feel better already. Hey friends, Sam Haymart for Test-Driven TV. Today I've got the 2015 Dodge Challenger SRT 392, the fastest Challenger you can get this side of a Hellcat. This is a car that makes me want to put on some black leather and go hang out in bad neighborhoods, drive it around, brawl it a little bit, see what kind of trouble I can get into. You want to go for a ride? I know you do.
Taking a moment for a quick walk around here on the wrong side of the tracks, we can see styling was updated for 2015 with a split grille up front from the days way back, but marries this look with modern halo ring daytime running lights. A deeper chin splitter comes on the SRT that's a subtle bit more than on the RT, but not too much to live with in the real world of curbs and driveways. The retro look repeats out back with a handsome split LED taillight design and huge dual exhaust tips. Our Challenger SRT was well outfitted with full striping and all the radar sensors that come with its technology group. Standard though are the mean-looking 20-inch hyper black wheels which show off its huge Brembo 6-piston brakes with red calipers. The SRT brings a fully decked interior with heated and ventilated leather sport seats, some of the best in the business I think. The leather-wrapped flat-bottom steering wheel with paddle shifters also is heated, and as you can see, ours was optioned with red trim for an extra $95. Challenger got a new interior for 2015 which has design reminiscent of the 1971 Challenger, but it's modern to the touch with high quality materials and contemporary ergonomics. It has all the technology you'd expect today, but retains a remarkably simple layout.
This has got a really cool set of features I want to show you, and this is sort of unscripted, so I'm just going to walk you through it a little bit here. And this has everything to do with the SRT drive modes and the performance pages that, well, a lot of cars have drive modes right now. This actually has a lot going for it. The coolest thing is you've got a number of presets. You've got default, custom, sport, and track. And this allows you to go in here and actually get all the different metrics you want in terms of how the suspension is set with the adjustable dampers, as well as the transmission, the steering, as well as the traction control. Now track setting of course is red because almost everything is off. You can go to sport here, which lets you have a little bit of fun, but ultimately will step in and sort of arrest the worst things that can happen. You can also do a custom setting where you can go in and manipulate some of the different metrics of the different things, like if you like the steering on a street setting but the suspension a little stiffer, but yet you want the traction control to be completely gone, or if you want it to be on, you can go ahead and make all those settings yourself depending on how you like the way the car reacts. Now this is my default setting, the way it has the settings every time it starts up, and this is sort of just the way I like the car driving for around town. And it's just really cool because a lot of cars, well, they have drive modes, they always default to the worst one when you start it up. You have to go in and you have to change it. Here you can set your defaults exactly the way you want them. I love it. Now the performance page is very, very cool. This actually lets you go in here and do any number of things. You have timers here, so if you're out at a track, you can time your acceleration, you can time your 1/8 mile, 1/4 mile, and any number of metrics here. If you're out on a closed track and not on the street, you can time your acceleration and some of your different metrics here. There's also some custom gauges here that you can have if you're out at the track or if you just like watching this stuff. And then of course there's G-force. This is kind of fun on the racetrack where this will actually show you live G-force while you're out driving around. And the engine here, this is actually kind of cool. This has just sort of this power meter, if you will, and it's fun to watch. So this has a lot of stuff in here that's really geared to the performance guy, and I just love this stuff.
The performance pages of the center stack are also backed by an instrument cluster which has a great mix of retro design and modern information sharing. The dials look 70s, but between them is a configurable display that offers lots of modern tech. Manual shifting for the 8-speed automatic can be done either by the shift lever in the manual gate or steering wheel paddle shifters, and behind those paddles are buttons for audio system adjustments like stations and volume. Rear seat space passes for usable provided the front seats aren't too far back. It's tight, however, with legroom and headroom being only adequate for short trips. The trunk too is large enough for this class, but the 33-inch liftover height's a bear, and the small trunk opening is too. Overall, the interior is one of the more well-executed blends of retro design and modern-day livability. Comfort's top of the game, and it seems few compromises were made in ergonomics to make the look happen. Another blend of retro and modern is found under the hood, where you get a 6.4-liter pushrod V8 which cranks out a nice loud 485 horsepower and 475 pound-feet of torque. It's even badged retro with its 392 cubic inch displacement. Modern comes in, however, with its cylinder deactivation system, which shuts down 4 cylinders during low speed and coasting situations to save fuel. This helps it earn an EPA rating of 15 mpg city and 25 mpg highway. Unlike the RT we tested last year with the same system, the 6.4 engine's transitions from 4 to 8 cylinders are a bit more noticeable, and the performance exhaust really accentuates its considerably different sound running on 4 cylinders.
Depending on your personality type, this car can be a great anger management tool. Woo! Aha! Woo! I feel better already. Now, on the other hand, if you're the other kind of personality type, the first thing you notice when you get behind the wheel of this car is that everybody else is going slow. They're sitting out there in their Buicks and their Cadillacs, their SUVs, their pickup trucks, their minivans, and they aren't going freaking anywhere. And you end up sitting here riding the brake incessantly. And if you're that kind of person, this car is going to make you very agitated.
Getting out into the uninhibited country is the best way to solve these issues, regardless of which personality type you are. The SRT has a chassis that really invites you to stretch its legs and sample the different modes of its Bilstein adjustable dampers.
Now, one thing about this chassis is it originally came from the Mercedes-Benz E-Class back in the day when it was originally developed. So those were pretty good bones to start with. So fully independent suspension, it's very refined, it's very tight, and well, Chrysler's actually done well to improve it during its lifetime. And so, you know, it's very contemporary, it feels very solid out here on the road, and most importantly, it feels of quality.
That chassis gets a short and long A-arm front suspension, which is a standout here in this class, as the Mustang and Camaro both make do with McPherson struts. We have electric power steering here too in the SRT, which, while not as nice as a hydraulic rack, it's not too bad in feel.
And opening it up, woo! That's what I'm talking about. That feels good. On these brakes, big brakes, work really well coming down in here. Gets me right where I need to be on the way out of the corner. Woo! Now, you notice I'm leaving it in drive. I could be shifting manually, but I really like to see how well these transmissions do on their own.
As tested, our Challenger SRT weighs in at 4,251 pounds, making it the heaviest of the big 3 muscle cars. This does put the engine to task, as well as its big brakes, which are 15.4-inch Brembos up front and 13.8-inch at the rear, but they do work very well.
Even though it is the heaviest kit in the class in terms of muscle cars, this is still a car that you can enjoy out here on a tight little windy back road. It does take a little bit more attention than a lighter car because, well, you can cross yourself up and get coming into a little tight corner a little too fast for this weight. And even though this does have a lot of grip with these big tires and wheels, well, there are limits to physics and what they can actually control, so you have to be quite careful, but it's still quite a bit of fun. The nice thing about it is, because the suspension is nice and stiff and the chassis is refined, the steering's very communicative. Well, it just allows you to really kind of control it in such a way where you don't feel like it's really over the edge. It's just got a beautiful sound.
In the week week of driving the 2015 Dodge Challenger SRT a little nice and a little not so nice, I achieved a tank average of 16.5 mpg. It's not impressive, but not bad given I couldn't even get to the end of my street each day without romping on it. I'm just a big knuckle-dragging monkey when it comes to these muscle cars. What can I say?
You know, one of the biggest areas I think this car really shines is the fact that it's so well-rounded. I mean, it's a lot of fun on the racetrack. You can take it to the drag strip and not come home looking like a fool. It's a lot of fun on a windy road too, but most importantly, it's well-rounded out here in everyday life. I mean, you can drive it on the freeway, you can drive it in town on your everyday commute, and it's comfortable. It's easy to drive. It doesn't have that heavy sort of truck-like feel that a lot of muscle cars used to have, where they performed well, but they weren't all that nice to drive. I mean, they were like driving trucks. This, on the other hand, is very refined. It's got a nice quiet ride, and so if you're stuck in traffic on the freeway and you're using it like an everyday commuter, well, it's not going to disappoint you here either. Well, that was a blast, wasn't it? I got to tell you, I really do like this car so much, in fact, it goes on my I'd buy it list for 2015. I like it that much. What can I say? Well, here's why. When we look at the specs here, it really has quite a nice lineup of numbers here. Now, the fuel economy, not so good, but you know, everything this car's got going for it, you really don't give a shit what it's costing to feed it. Horsepower, a little bit more than the Mustang and the Camaro with their base V8s. Granted, it's a little bit heavier, so it's not necessarily meaning the thing's going to be that much faster. It's just got a nice feel to it when you drive it. The price, a little more on the premium side, but considering everything that's here, the level of refinement, the chassis, the overall package, I think that's actually a pretty good value, and that gets us to the stars. 5 stars across the board. The interior really hit it. Got a nice audio and infotainment system. The engine and transmission makes you smile, and that chassis, one of the most refined of the 3 major muscle cars, I think. Overall, that makes it a good value. So it's 5 stars for the week. I'm Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. I hope you enjoyed the ride.